You know, I'll be real here, Uber. I think Navi, one of the scarier teams out here, but Tufa, one of the scarier individuals straight up. Like, we've gotten good shots of him on camera, but I'm able to just turn around and that boy is on fire.
Yeah, he really wants to tell us something about the ground, F-Dog, because he's constantly doing this. I'm not sure, like, is the floor lava? Do you want more space? Is this your house? Probably the latter, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, I mean, this team, a lot of energy, and, you know, they come in here, they know, look, every Brazilian team I've ever really seen at top-level esports has had a chip on their shoulder, right? They felt like an underdog going into, and even if you told INTZ that they're not underdogs, they'd be like, no, we prefer that. You know, it kind of fuels them in a big way. But a bit of a different look on stage here. We actually have Adinho starting in for INTZ now as we have our bans.
Ooh, yeah, you're not wrong. Tufa on the bench at the moment, and you know, I like to see that when you've got the extended roster. You know, you want to play mix and match. You want to be able to have the best possible. It's not that Adinho over to, but for this specific matchup, it might be the reason to go towards Adinho. The only thing I worry about here when you bring in the ringer is, are they cold? This is the first time Adinho is going to be on the stage. How will he fare versus the player that's already been there? Because Cube, MMA, Jason, they've been playing all weekend.
Right, I think objectively, it's quite a bizarre decision for that exact reason, right? This is Adinho's first time on stage, but wasting no time on jumping straight into Brawl ball left. Let's get it on. INTZ take on Navi in our first semi.
Always a fan of Gene, but I worry about the Crow on the other side. MMA is going to be able to just jump on in there and take care of business if the team allows him to. But at the moment, INTZ seem to have the first bout of momentum here midfield. Fire Crow, healthy as a horse, hasn't gotten a single, all right, before that, hadn't taken a single shot. And just like that, Navi's able to wrestle back a little bit. But Adinho on the spike, good use of the big cactus, able to hide from the death.
Yeah, look, Navi are waiting on Cube to get that mech online here. You'll start to see them take a bit more space. MMA might well have slowing toxin available as well. So once Navi decide they want to start fighting and MMA finds a decent connection, they'll be able to run INTZ down and potentially convert that into a goal. Self-injector use there by Jason. He takes a bit of damage, and Cube now suits up. It's time to go for Navi.
Yeah, drastic change here. Meg goes from like 0.5 of a character to 1.5, but immediately take it down. Excellent choice of the B and the execution. But there's that Crow move. MMA all the way to the back line. And just like that, neutralized. Marcel will stay alive and bring the ball home.
Yeah, so crucially, Magic Hand used there on Cube in mech form. The stun makes it impossible for Cube to get his health back by using the gadget, so he doesn't get to spend nearly as much time inside mech, and he's burst down with a quick double tap from Firecrow. MMA getting picked off by Marcel is a bit of a dangerous one here, but Jason's healthy enough and wing against Adinho in a comfortable enough fashion that Navi aren't giving up too much ground. INTZ might be playing for an overtime scenario here.
I think you're right. As Marcel finds another kill onto MMA, Jason answers back, but it's a double kill for Marcel right into the clutches of the defense. Cube gets there first. I think it was also a little bit off target, but we'll give credit to the defense there as Cube shows
definitely
up.
The latter.
Yeah, influences.
Definitely the latter. Marcel scores that, even with Cube in the way, if he's just slightly to the left, but that happens. Honeyman has to use that to slow Cube up, but he's actually able to survive. He's out of mech, but he's still going to be able to shoot a goal just fine. And Navi in dying seconds, F-Dot, they get the one goal that they need.
Perfect timing. Navi knew exactly how, what, when, where. Specifically the when was the important part. Game one of the pocket of the white, blue, and red here. Nice moves from Cube. You know, the problem here, the problem for me was, Uber, was that when we saw Navi, all right, they did exactly what you need to do. Bide your time, get Meg in the mech, okay. INTZ answered it perfectly. Pull, stun, double tap with the B. The B was selected to take care of the tanks. Everything seemed to be okay on paper, but that's why we play the game. Navi didn't care that you found how to counter the comp. They got it done.
Right, I mean, and importantly, what we maybe was harder to see there is, as we see, you know, Cube push up there in the mech, from the side, it's MMA hits 2 players with a slowing toxin. So, well, you know, INTZ are able to slow down the mech, right? They throw Honey Molasses down, but they group up 2 players. They both get hit, they both get slowed down. So Cube just walks up and hits them with the super and mech and just destroys them. Yeah, he gives up his mech as a result and has to walk on his own 2 feet again, but that's fine. He can still score from that position. Essentially, MMA sets up a huge 2 for 1 point, as you put it, 2 for half, as only the mech is traded for 2 players. And so you still have a 3v1 situation. Absolutely stunning stuff there. Not quite enough to keep Winter interested, apparently, but I definitely enjoyed that.
Maybe he's on event.brawlstars.com, putting in his, hitting the spam button, which is always my favorite part of watching esports, spamming along at home. But real talk, I think this is one of those interesting games where I look at what INTZ did, and I don't have too many complaints. I wouldn't mind them going right back to the same composition. It was really just about that last-minute execution, which, you know, like you said, it happens.
I think they forgot about the Crow, honestly. You know, we know that they can dive in, but, you know, Crow's potential to catch multiple targets and just pin them down is pretty scary. MMA playing a little bit aggressively here, and I think he was trying to create some space for Cube to get free damage by taking attention from Crow, but didn't really play it the way he would have liked it to. He just kind of feeds.
That's fair, that's fair, that's fair. We'll see if they can turn it around here. Cube gets in the mech a lot earlier than game number 1. INTZ did stick to their original composition, which again, I like that call. Cube knocked out real quick. Jason pushes forward though. Right side lane, MMA gets the kill on Adinho, waiting for the pass. Marcel kicks it out, does not matter. Score 1 for Navi.
And a huge part of that F-Dot is that mech, right? It generates so much attention that, again, MMA just wins a comfortable 1v1 against the Dino and then wraps. And yeah, Lamp Blowout was available for Marcel, but it really just prolongs the inevitable. Navi's mech play is causing a lot of problems, and that's what you need to do. Firecrow needs to remove Cube before he suits up. This is looking good for the Brazilians.
Open window, Marcel passes to Firecrow. No, he holds it. And just like that, able to tie up a minute 15 and counting.
Great stuff there. I think Cube might even have gone down with super available, but it's just a perfect snipe from the superstar Firecrow to pave the way. INTZ need to do it again, though.
Might be tough this time around. Cube here, locking down the left lane as we've gotten used to seeing. MMA slowed up, jumping forward, misses the super, doesn't matter, gets him from behind, and Cube gets the kill on the left-hand side. Pop, pop, Marcel, doesn't matter. Game, set. Navi move on to set 2.
And look at that, the energy there. Navi realized that they have done what many teams have really struggled to do, like a comfortable performance there against INTZ on Brawl Ball, and the healing of Jason really has to be pointed out there. You know, Cube gets D-Mech, but he's still in a position to fight the B. B is pretty scary at any range, but constantly being topped up by Jason, and he's able to push up there. INTZ should be frustrated. I think going up against the Meg, they knew that they were going to have a tough time anyway, compositionally. They felt like they could win, and that's true, but you have to do it before Cube gets in the mech and is able to take all this space. Look at this. As soon as Navi realize, F-Dot, that they can collapse this left-hand side, all 3 of them push up. Look, it's elegant, but it is very simple.
Oh, yeah. This is, you know, it is the most beautifully hand-engraved hammer I've ever seen, right? Just like, you did what you needed to do, as simplistic as it was, but that was the biggest deal for me in game number 2, was how quickly Cube was able to get that mech online and push forward, and then like you said, it all just comes together. On to the next one. Bot drop is where we are headed. When it comes down to Siege, INTZ looked really good last time around, but we'll see what they could do here against the Navi choices as we head there. The 2-0 in the mines. And, you know, we didn't touch on the bans earlier on. No Bell is a big deal that really impacts the game. No Buzz recently, but Stu is one of those X-Factor characters that changes the way you play and approach with that band.
Right, I mean, he can snowball situations and obviously break down walls quite comfortably there. Look, Navi continue their tendency, F-Dot, of banning safe, long-range brawlers, right? Lola's really nasty right now. I think OG was really able to demonstrate just how filthy she is. And obviously Belle, you know, her ability not only to control the middle part of the map, but also use those nest eggs to slow down a siege bot. pretty tough to deal with. Navi do not want their opponents to be able to sit back and play these safe picks. They want to force them into situations where they have to brawl. MMA's got a bit of experience in that regard. He actually is as he calls himself, a professional sort of mixed martial artist. So the guy lives up to his name out of game, and in game, he's more than happy to knock a few heads together as well. And yes, I hope everybody at home is getting over to event.brawlstars.com and have had their predictions in now. There's a bunch of opportunities to learn more coins, by the way, just by staying on the page and looking out for opportunities to just interact and work your way towards that cat burglar Jesse skin, which I am not going to get to because my predictions are in utter shambles. It is a disgrace.
I put a lot in the basket here for STMN, but I had Zeta Division going all the way, and so seeing the boys get it done there. There's Tufa. That's the guy that got INTZ to this point alongside the other two guys. Happy to swap in and out with Adinho. Again, when this is something that I see more here than in other esports, Uber, is the idea that you have an extended roster and you actually use it. I kind of like that.
Yeah, again, if we have a chance to interview them, I'd love to maybe sort of know why. Adinho's spike is, a real go-to pick for him. We've seen it many times. We'll have to see, though, if, that is definitely an option here on bot drop. Like, no doubt about it. You can definitely play the spike. Really serviceable, very safe, strong, mid-range side laner here. Again, against what Navi like to play, which is eventually that all-in, it could be a little bit scary. Let's see what Navi have on board here. Okay, so a little bit less in your face. They do have the spike here, but they got the Farley, and Jason just got a free haircut.
Oh, yeah, long-range stuff here. I'm never going to say no to the Piper. I think that long-range classic sharpshooter, yes, please, hit your stuff. This is the professional level. Right off the bat, INTZ are getting the first siege bot. But this, of course, is where Cube comes into play on that spike. Going to drop down the slow field at some point to make sure nobody can really get on in. The bot will make it to the Ike, though, and so we will see some damage from the gloves themselves. Ultimately, first round. And it's 76% remaining here for Navi.
Yeah, here's the issue for Navi. If they can't really take control of this composition, they don't have a ton to slow down the mech. I think MMA must have Healing Tonic and not Sticky Syrup Mixer because he doesn't use it to try and slow down the bot there. Yeah, Jason can use Poppin and Cube, obviously his super to slow it down, but so much of both of these compositions relies on them just controlling mid. Yeah. Adinho's a problem right now because Firecrow can fire from invisibility here, and this is a signature pick. His Piper is known around the world, and this is 2 siege bots back-to-back for the Brazilians.
That's going to be a tall task for Navi to deal with. You can see right away pulling out all the stops, trying to get this bot down early. Pushing in. Decent damage coming out from Navi, but again, the bot will find the honey. And we got just over a third here on the Ike. 3 bolts in the pocket for Navi, and so that if they are playing the last siege game, this is where they have to step forward. Cube relegating Adinho to the right side, but as soon as Adinho gets out, he puts Cube in the ground.
And it's huge. I mean, Navi really had to lean into the left side collapse to get a bolt lead here, and they have one, but it's modest at best. This siege bot's going to have to do a heck of a lot of work, but INTZ will suffer the same problems as Navi do when it comes to sort of staving that siege bot off. They don't have a ton to deal with it. Again, unless Marcel has some tech in hand here. This is the last siege. Navi have to pile in their signature fashion, but last call's going to be connecting with so many of these players. They're taking a ton of damage. They've got to back away. It's a disaster for Navi.
It's troublesome all the way to it, but INTZ's Ike is going down. They have to be 35%. Navi can't get it done. And just like that, INTZ loudly and proudly win game 1.
Now, obviously, the Affiliate Esports crew also very pleased to see this result. Their countrymen, or at least for the most part, putting up quite a fight here against Navi. And again, look, you saw both the comps, right? Couldn't do a lot about the siege bot.
Yeah.
We saw Zeta Division, right? They played the Gale. They used the Twister gadget to sort of actually prevent the siege bot from even touching the Ike. This setup is designed to do a very different thing, make use of these sort of wide angles. But if Jason isn't connecting shots, if he's not starting to run over the top of people on this Piper, then, the composition looks really bad. It's very conditional. And, I mean, this is pretty telling, I think, F-Dog.
I mean, absolutely. One guy got 5 kills and the other guy didn't. And one guy died twice and the other guy didn't. You know, that is as basic as you can kind of lay it down. You know, I understand the Piper selection. Again, I love the long-range sharpshooters. Really, really fun to go to, especially when you have an open midfield like they had here. But, and I mean, I'm not the one on stage, so take this with as many grains of salt if you want. I think it was the wrong choice, and I would like to see them move away from it. Whether it's something more tangible like the Gene or the Gale to work against the bot specifically, or just something more control-oriented for that midfield, you know, something wild. Just, I don't think the thesis was there, and I think it failed.
Navi tried to ban long-range safe brawlers, if not. They can't ban them all. They've only got 2 bans to work with here.
Yeah.
And we know they prefer to play a bit more of an in-your-face style, but it's just not an option on bot drop. The map is, frankly, horrendous, you know, in terms of their play style. So here, a bunch of healing, right? Poco Pam, but they're going to take a ton of poke damage, and they don't really have much architecture to hide behind. They just have to hope that they can steamroll here, and that's what they need to do, right? Cube burning Adino down. Scrap Sucker the gadget, I think, for the Pam is going to be crucial, unless it's Pulse Modulator on board.
This is exactly what I was talking about, Uber. Much more love to see the Gene here. You have something to do if things don't go your way. So I like the idea of wearing the seatbelt. First siege is a tie, so we have about 30 seconds left.
I mean, I'm sorry, F-Dot, but you can see what Navi like to do, right? They're playing an open map, they're playing 3 bloody healers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have the Gene for magic puffs, mate. That's really what they're just trying to do. And you can see how much of a problem this is. This is not really where Navi are most comfortable, and they are collapsing now, having to play such a wide open map.
That said, still have the Bolt lead, albeit just barely, as soon as I said it. Caster's Curse. 9-8 in favor of INTZ. Cube walking to his own doom, but Jason answers back. And so INTZ get the first bot. Reminder, bot number 1 was a tie, and so level 10 here for bot number 2.
Right, I mean, again, you can tank this bot quite a lot. Your Pam can tank it with large health pool and get healed up by the Byron as you sort of back up here. Adino not expecting to get caught by Jason there, so nice defense from Navi. That was a beefy siege bot, and Navi have 11 bolts going into the last siege and a lot of mid control because they got the kill on that Leon. This is looking very good for the Russian squad. I'm
not going to say it was by design, but a happy little accident. As Mr. Ross would say here, because now you've got now you're gonna have a gigantic bot decked out in legendary gear, and I'm not sure INTZ have the defense in order to make it happen. Fire Crow drops a pin, and now it's down to this level 16 here for Navi, and he's sprinting all the way down Broadway, but the siege bot already 1/3 down. 12 seconds left, and they're
using everything they got. Yeah, I mean, that Sticky Syrup Mixer and Poppin gets used, and it's still not enough. It's a level 16 siege bot for crying out loud. Maybe if the Barley stays alive and is able to deploy yet another gadget to slow it down, it would have been a different story. But nice job by Navi. Generally very good. Their composition is very risky, right? They have to play close together. They have to play forward. This is not a map with a lot of cover. But it is the healing, right? They are overpowering the damage output potential of INTZ. And I think we have a very clear picture of Navi's preferred way to play. This is to say that they're by no means out of the woods yet. They play a very one-dimensional composition previously. Yeah. And I think INTZ have a read on it now.
You know, I really want to credit the micro of Navi as well. You mentioned how they have to play like clumped up as this ball of death. Well, they made sure, you know, Pam's up in front until she starts falling down, and then they rotate out and they spread that healing around, always knowing who's going to be the true tank of their tank composition. But look at this, man. Cube on the Gene with 52% of the team's damage. That's how you know something's a little weird with the composition. When Gene winds up with 52% of the damage. But hey, man, it worked. I like to see teams get out of their comfort zone. Semifinals of Worlds might be an odd place to do so, but they're the ones with the W, and so they're the ones that have it working for them.
Yeah, I mean, again, you probably don't have a lot of damage as a team there, especially because Byron has to spend most of his time probably healing the Pam.
Yeah.
But Pam really ruins Piper. If you can get close enough and actually scrap suck her, she just sits there like a lemon. It's like, I have no ammunition. I really don't have much that I can do here except sort of try and run away, and that's when she becomes a bit more susceptible to like the longer range pressure that Byron can provide. Yeah, we were talking about like the micro. Remember, like Pam has like what, like 5.5, 6k health. She takes a few hits from the siege bot, and the whole time she's getting just pocket healed by the Byron. So even though you don't have like a lot of tools specifically to deal with the siege bot, you can almost solo take it with plenty of healing. It's not cheesy.
Just stand
Navi
there,
don't
right?
like these. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, okay. So what do you make about this? Navi going to switch back here to this more long-range comp? I mean, this is a risky play.
It is, and you know, you asked me what I think. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I think you just won with the last one. It was a little creative, a little bit out of your comfort zone, but you got the W. And I mean, sure, you have the level 1 siege bot. Good for you, Navi. Almost undoubtedly not going to be really much doing here, but the squad here now sending up on the left-hand side. Marcel will be able to live, and a little bit of damage from the Barley. So that's where I'll check myself a little bit, Uber. I will never complain about a switch to a Barley in Siege. You know, it is what it is. Oh. Great pick. But Jason gets another pick there.
Yeah, Firecrow trying to go deep there on a bit of a flank, but Jason had the homemade recipe at absolute max range. In fairness, I think if Navi played the same composition, the Crow becomes pretty scary for them to deal with, right? That poison ticking makes healing much harder to pull off here. So I understand that Navi probably realized that they played such a one-dimensional comp that they'd be sort of backed into a corner if they had to play it with notice for their opponents. Here comes the siege bot, though. It's healthy enough. Level 7, of course, and yeah, we'll see now the sticky syrup mixer thrown down to slow it up here, and beautiful stuff from Firecrow to be able to split his attention like that.
Still a fair amount of damage being dealt here by Navi. Dino goes all the way in and all the way down. So he gets a kill, but he trades out. Such is life for the Crow players out there. Cube trying to find his way all the way up. Lollipop gets dropped. And so no refuge in that center space. Last siege, 5 in the pocket
This
for
is
INTZ.
crucial.
I think they might be able to bite back.
I mean, that's perfect. Firecrow needs that exact kill there on the Piper to give their team a chance of making something happen here. Edinho builds his super. He can dive in on towards the Ike. Marcel, of course, would like to do the same here. This is definitely up for grabs for INTZ. Level 9 Siegebot trolling down mid. MMA slows it up, of course, with the sticky syrup mix, but has to give up his life as a result, and Jason's seen better days himself. Last call thrown at the Ike, but no one from INTZ can get quite close enough. They're diving in, though. They're going for it here. Marcel gets there, and they've done it! Oh, they've done it! The final siege, patience pays dividends, and INTZ come up with the dub.
What'd you say? I can't hear you. The Brazilians are popping off right now. But jokes aside, I mean, no jokes about that level of gameplay. These guys absolutely bring it home. Adinho feeling it through the veins as well. They're going to be able to take this set looking clean and clear. And so Hot Zone is next. Navi reflecting on that one. As I said, you know, you brought up a really good point about how that composition was so 1D that the Crow by itself can get rid of it. And so maybe you have to change. I would have liked to see a happy medium, something in between, because they got stepped on in game number 1. Game number 3 was a little bit better, but this was still, I want to say, almost inevitable. The fact that they did not have a tool to deal with the bot at this point, and so INTZ were able to win when they got there.
Yeah, it's also Navi hyper-focused on the fact that Marcel's still alive. So you see that Cube is still at full health, and both he and the Piper ignore the siege bot, he and Jason. And they just try and make sure, like, you know, the rest of INTZ can't really follow up on it. They take most of the damage to their right from a siege bot that gets ignored there. That is a very difficult situation to navigate. You're in like a 2v2 and the enemy team is a siege bot. They have a Barley. They can indirectly hit your right constantly. So what do? Do you get rid of the Barley? Do you try and, you know, focus down the siege bot? They'd already used the sticky syrup mixes, so they weren't going to be able to slow it down any further. I've got to be honest, though, that is probably one of INTZ's best chances in this series to get a map that they definitely should win. When I see that come up, I think, okay, you saw Navi put themselves in uncomfortable situations to try and, you know, and they kept it competitive, which is credit to them. Playing what you could consider a suboptimal look with the sort of the triple healer set up and trying to get in the enemy face. Split's a different story, though. Again, we know there's like a bunch of different looks available on this kind of map. We know that Navi get a lot of value out of Frank, especially. The MMA likes to play that. It was sitting on Brawl Ball so far. fascinating map split is, because the way that these teams dictate sort of the investment of resources between left and right can really shape how the game goes. This is as much mental as it is mechanical.
Oh, without a doubt. And I think that was, that was a concern of mine. Not a concern, but it was a point of note coming into this one. INTZ are loud here. And Navi being remote, kind of don't have to deal with it. I think INTZ have intimidated a couple of teams like that. Right side, Cube owning the side for his team. Left side, it's MMA and Jason owning the side for his team. And so Navi already off to the races. Finally, Marcel getting something going here for INTZ.
While the Cube stayed alive for as long as he did, Marcel really respects the triple tap damage of the Surge there, enough that he backs around that corner and sort of opts to obviously play more indirectly. MMA getting poked out a little bit, that's huge from Cube. Beautiful stuff, gets the invulnerability frame. Firecrow, though, reciprocates. But now MMA chooses to push through. Like I said, Navi get to play a bit more in your face here, and it suits them awful well.
MMA losing the fight there, eventually falling down, but Firecrow jumping the stun, always going to be a good look. Marcel and Cube here, jumping to his doom. Navi off to the races, though. 86%, stunted at the moment, thanks to Firecrow's prowess on the point, dodging Frank, but pushed off nonetheless. 97, 98, and that's going to be that. Navi take game one unceremoniously.
Absolutely stunning stuff. That's beautiful there. I mean, and I've got to point out, Frank, at one point you saw him ult backwards, right?
Yeah.
He knew that he wasn't going to be able to kill Firecrow. Firecrow had the invulnerability frame from the level up, so he turned around and instead just took out some of the architecture of the map to make it easier for his team to come back in and have an easier line of fire. And they do, right?
Yep.
This allows Cube to move up like this. MMA's just, he's not even trying to hit them. He's not trying. He just knows he needs to just stand on the point. Like I said, simple yet elegant play. Just be on the damn point. You don't have to do anything fancy.
10,000 HP. I mean, that's where I begin and end. Frank choice, 10K HP. Like you said, he knows he's not gonna
sit that 10K HP badonk on the damn point and get some percentage, son.
Yeah, that's it. There's no agility. You're not gonna out agile the character who can literally teleport. He's gonna blink away from you. So me stand on point and caveman your way to victory is the Navi way here on the Brawl Stars stage and our World Championships semifinals here, as we find ourselves tied at 1 as far as the sets are concerned. And right now, Navi looking for their second set, 1 away. And there's Tufa. He was playing for this INTZ team earlier on, swapped out for Adinho as they make use of their full roster. And INTZ, I think that's the biggest surprise. Getting a chance to chat with a lot of the players. A lot of them, INTZ, were not high up on their list. But again, getting a chance to talk after they played, and INTZ have impressed a lot of people here. Check out Marcel. Page out of the opponent book. Me, Frank, this time.
Yep. Adinho gets dipped on the left-hand side. There's actually nothing the PAM can do at all. So that's going to be a big problem. INTZ need to change their setup here. Maybe pressure Cube down. That's all well and good. I think Cube doesn't really fancy tangling here, and these teams might actually just have to trade sides of the map because they have awful matchups in their weaker sides. Cube going to go over the top here, and getting this extra percent, this is actually extremely relevant. Cube can also pop that super and suck a Firecrow straight back in when he chooses to do so. This is really important that he's getting this free percentage right now.
Big boy versus big boy on the left side. Jason actually dodges Marcel. That Frank matchup, it's all about footsies. It really is about the millimeters of devastation. Locked out here on the left side, locked out on the right side. So like you said, trade time, 4% separated. Navi technically in the lead, but for my money, Uber, it's tied up.
Yeah, Firecrow favored here, though, because so much of this wall is missing, and the Iron Hive follow-up there secures the kill. Yeah, Firecrow wants to be in this kind of situation. Now we can really bully Jason, and Jason has nowhere to really hide. He can't go around the other way, because that's going to be very telegraphed. And Marcel does the same thing on the other side. So now INTZ get to shift gears. They have a sharpshooter on their team, and they're removing a lot of the architecture, but that wombo combo, that's going to leave a mark.
I mean, he even missed the first shot and still devastated INTZ. And again, counting up from 90. That looks like it could be it. Marcel, not going to be enough. Navi take their second set of the contest.
That is beautiful stuff from Navi. Yeah, they don't have the B in the mix. They don't have the sharpshooter, but they realize, you know, B, she doesn't want to play on the point, right?
Yeah.
Navi, again, they understand the most simple and obvious fact about this. I mean, tough for two for them. Sat there wanting to be a part of this right now, but again, get those bodies on the point. Really, you just need one. And you know, Firecrow's being fairly, you know, clever, trying to play from long distance, getting a ridiculous amount of damage, but he's not stood where he needs to be. And again, I like the idea of the setup from INTZ, but you have two huge tanks. They don't even really wombo perfectly there, but it is entirely good enough to wipe INTZ with those two tanks.
Yeah, exactly. That was the only reason I brought up the fact that he struck out on the first time, was that he didn't even need that amount. Jason here, 5-0. 5-0, and that O is the important part, because Frank was omnipresent all around. You know, and this is, again, this spread, usually we always like to see the 33. This is a nice spread. Gale a little bit lower, because there were a couple of plays where Gale, it wasn't even using star powers or supers or gadgets. It was just, I'm going to be the meat shield. He jumps in first, absorbs all the ammo from the opposition, and then Frank lumbers in, and you've already wasted all your shots on the other guy. And so Frank could get it done. Moving on to safe zone, what are your thoughts?
Again, I think we're going to see a bit of a different look here. It's Heist. Do not expect Navi to opt into playing sort of long-range, mid-range stuff against you. There's every chance that they will just try and suit up with, you know, with tanks and walk straight at you, or at least play some sort of dive-centric looks here. We know just how good INTZ, like, we know how good, you know, Firecrow is on any sort of sniper, whether it's Piper or whether it's B. Navi probably don't want to, you know, mirror that style, at least not for too long. Maybe throw it in here for a round here and there. Like, Jason is a very serviceable Piper player, but, you know, going up against Firecrow, it's pretty clear to see who is looking a little bit more comfortable in this situation. The fact is, safe zone is the kind of map where you can opt into just getting in the enemy face. You just play something that's giga tanky, and INTZ have to be ready for that, right? They know the way Navi tried to navigate bot drop. They know that Navi just want to stick together, play a death ball, and go for it. And they have to have a contingency to deal with those tanks.
The Brazilians here, like you said, they've got to figure it out. I mean, but you know, we tell you, get a contingency for the tanks, but not B, not there. You know, or at least not on our last map. So that is something I want to see, something drastically different. Man,
right?
We're not even in game, and INTZ are yelling. You guys know that
they best keep that energy high. Remember, like with Bell banned, right? There's no way to get damage amp on enemy tank. She's not going to play Colette. She's not enough,
right?
Unfortunately, to even though she has that % health damage, it's great, but it's not enough. Bell, obviously, with Spotter, yeah, you can just destroy your tank. She's banned. You ain't playing that. You know, Navi knew exactly, you know, how to sort of try and shift the game in a direction that may favor them. Buzz is also not available there. Navi would like to play that if they can, but it's clear to see that there's plenty of other options.
Oh, yeah.
We saw Jackie in the previous map, and the reason why is because she can now move while using that super, right? So she's much more flexible, and she can actually really cover ground, especially with pneumatic boost that, you know, gives her the speed boost, right? Ton of options here for Navi. Again, I'd be surprised if we see Navi try and play, you know, slow, steady, standard, like, you know, a lot of the teams we've seen at this tournament. They have no reason to respect that game style.
Well said. As we jump on into it, right off the bat, Cube on the Rico here for left side. Firecrow will be dealing with him on the Sprout for sure. I'm always a big fan of the Sprout, but I'm looking at MMA here. The Nani might be the difference maker in this composition, because Navi are looking for the long-range bout. But that Nani, I think, might be the big difference.
Yeah, I'd love to see what gadget MMA has, I think, crucially. Quite often you actually see sort of warp drive used here, so, you know, you can just use your peep to get behind enemy lines here. MMA playing pretty safely there, but Jason's able to pick Adinho off. A couple of hits, though, coming in from Marcel. And here comes the peep. This would finish Marcel if it connects, and okay. It's headed the long way around here. Ooh. MMA, okay, yeah, see, again, Navi do play this sharpshooter style. It just doesn't look as good for him.
Yeah, not great, Bob. Jason's able to find a kill just like that. Navi, though, here, Cube on the backside. A lot of damage there on the save, sneaking past the opposition.
It's as if MMA's the decoy there, using his peep and sort of implying and eventually, you know, actually warping in there.
Yeah.
While Cube just gets multiple salvos of damage on the save. It's actually unbelievable that has worked.
I mean, he got me. you heard me. All eyes were on Nani. Absolutely. So you know what?
I just wanted to see what he was doing with that.
All right, bud.
I mean, all right, Navi, nice little bit of misdirection there, showing us there's a little bit more subtlety from this Russian squad. Ironhive connecting with Jason there. He's going to get caught. There's basically a death sentence now, and Adinho can start to go to work on this safe a little bit. Cube has fallen as well. Okay, again, Peep is being piloted. We have a walk forward there from MMA. He's going to try and get some damage done to the safe here, try and keep his team in it. And, I mean, Marcel's still pummeling the safe, but a lead for Navi still.
Good job there from INTZ, kind of a fool me once situation, right? Nani goes to kind of drag everybody away from the heist, and it's not going to be the case. Navi, though, still have the lead, and a decent one at that. Marcel trying to open up the door, getting some shots on board. Marcel's teammate falls, and Marcel falls. And so Navi, one game away from the finals.
I love that. I mean, they really just play by their own rules, this team. Again, the Nani, you know, being able to walk forward and do damage to the safe is all well and good, but Cube leans very heavily into whatever lane matchup he has. He's favored in almost all of them there. Looks like the Sprout couldn't slow him down. He wasn't bothered about the B. He's able just to head straight down the map. And again, you have to understand that, you know, Rico hits harder when he's about. Look at what Cube does here, right? So Bouncy Castle, 1 salvo, 2 salvos, dodging another shot there from B, 2 shots from Adinho.
Wow.
He gets like 5 free salvos there, boosted, of course, from bouncing off the wall. You cannot let that happen.
I mean, I'll be straight up. I was looking at Nani and like, dude, what a poor choice. I guess he ran out of time or something. And then I looked up at the score and went, oh, well, I guess somebody got a bunch of shots. And then I saw the Rico, and I was like, the same thing happened to INTZ. Got it.
Yeah, it's basically the equivalent of, let's say you're trying to escape from an awkward conversation. You basically screech, you point at the sky and go, is that Superman? And then all of a sudden you're gone. That's what Navi pulled off there. And INTZ, look, you know, really pure souls, very passionate. It also can make them a little bit gullible. They look up at the sky and think, oh, is that really? I mean, Tooth is coming to save us with his red cape and glowing red eyes? No. Unfortunately, you guys just got baited. So now, whether that works, again, is a different story. But you can see, F-Dot, the map is just so open that, you know, Navi might be forced to play one of these setups. And INTZ even, they're not going to be respected. I mean, they want to be underdogs, INTZ. They want that. Then they should not be surprised that Navi does not respect them in the slightest. They're going to walk that Rico right up. They're going to be busting that Rico into enemy territory and working down the safe. They have to have a way of dealing with that. You could match Rico, or, yeah, Surge is fine. Get in Rico's face and just destroy him. That's okay, too.
I like the Surge choice. I'm with you, though, again, in the idea that, you know, this Nani, I don't think it's a bad choice, but what you did in game 1 will not happen in game 2. Fool me once and all that.
One of my favorite tricks is the second round you play Navi. You play Nani. You actually take return to sender if you're playing like against a sharpshooter in mid, like a Piper. You hit her with 1 shot and then you RTS her second shot and just blow her up. It only works once, but it's a great way to get in someone's head. Don't think that's going to be the case here for MMA though, as he's, you know, not trying to, you know, purposely tank any of these shots. I think, well, maybe that one. Either way, Cube going to take another hit as well, and INTZ now with resolve move up the middle of the map and get a few shots on the safe.
And again, trying to deliver the feeling in the arena to you guys. INTZ are clapping after every single shot hits. Like, they really, really are feeling it here. The door's open one more time, and Dino's going to walk up and find some, well, enemy damage.
Still level 1. Still level 1, if not. Oh, okay. So they used the peep there to get extra damage on the mech. That saves Jason's life. No doubt about it. Vicro's in a very compromising position now, but he's able to trade at the very least.
Wow.
And here comes Cube again. I wonder what he's up to.
Yeah, I mean, what he's up to is forcing Marcel into the super and the forced jump away. Great play again on the Rico, but getting rid of this wall here is going to be trouble for Rico on that left-hand side. Jason steps up and is able to get it done, but then falls down. Meanwhile, Marcel clocking in and just finding the damage onto the enemy safe.
Yep, shouldering the pickaxe. Hi-ho, off to work we go. Obviously, Piper not the best kitted out to deal safe damage. That's a beautiful fade away from MMA, though. This peak could be nasty. This is going to put him in striking distance of the safe again. And here we go. Marcel gets blown up. This Nani's starting to take the game over.
Cubes here as well, firing shots. 41% remain on INTZ's heist box. Firecrow, though, taking that cube is big. Firecrow right-hand side. The mech is inside the base. Navi, 4 seconds away. I think that's going to be it. Just like that. All the way to the finals. Not as Vincere are your first finalists of the Brawl Stars World Finals.
And they do it in style, you know. They really, like I said, they don't want to play by the rules. They don't follow the formula that so many teams have sort of opted for. Yeah, what we just saw from them there is not an unheard of strategy, right? Playing the Nani in that fashion. But again, sometimes, you know, you keep the peep, you go for an elimination with it, you use it to work down a mech'd up Meg, or you just go there yourself. Instead of using the peep to get damage, you just teleport there, you two-shot a Piper, you get the damage, and once again, the Rico being able to sort of really control, the lanes, even with the Piper trying to blow up some of that architecture. Really impressive stuff from Navi. Again, like it's not particularly fancy. They're not trying to be hot shots about it. It's a very simplistic approach to the game. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I think what was really the most fun for me about this one was, you know, Navi kind of put their cards on the table and they were like, look, man, this is the way we play and you can either counter it or not. And there were times where INTZ did have the answer, where INTZ did counter it. And Navi were like, all right, we'll just get you next time. And then there were times where INTZ countered it and it still didn't matter. And so, yeah, like you said, nothing fancy intentionally, just little tweaks, little changes here and there. And Navi really earned their way to the finals. Absolutely, the black and yellow, I think, looked really, really good here and pulled out all the stops to find themselves on the top side of what could be a world championship.
Absolutely. They're off to a great start here. They're in their facility. They're looking very happy right now. They are going to be going up against an insane opponent. You know, either Zeta Division sort of, you know, as we expect, make their way through getting rid of Europe's last hope, or Totem just finds a whole different gear and looks to sort of take Navi by surprise. Totem have some insanely mechanically skilled individuals, but yeah, you better believe spirits are high right now. Again, this team comes from an underrated region, but European teams knew that Navi had been on the rise recently because they competed against each other and they've been trading, they've been scrimming with top teams. They've been, trading sets with, teams like Clash and such. They've been scrimming with SK Gaming a whole bunch. So, it wasn't exactly a secret that this team would look so good, but they have beaten some really tough opponents to get here. Tribe EU, Queen Nai, and now the Brazilian juggernauts INTZ have fallen to their hand.
Tough stuff. Showing up the stats there at Nani, and I think that was fun because, those stats weren't that great, but so much of what he did was off the scoreboard. It was about taking up space, taking up time, and Jason taking up the MVP. Again, voted on you guys at event.brawlstars.com. Shout-outs to Jason for taking home the MVP in this one. I mean, what can you say about the guy getting it done?
Yeah, I'm really impressed with Jason, of course. We saw him on the Frank in that third set, and I think that his flexibility has really shown up in a big way here. Again, I was very impressed with their triple healer composition on bot drop. I thought that he was also a crucial part of that one there. So, look, any of these players can take MVP for me. I thought Cube was really excellent yesterday. I think there's still more in the tank for this Navi roster. Whichever way the cards fall, we have an insane grand final with already one team having made their way there. If not, couldn't ask for much more than this.